Hello, my name is Curtis Clock. Let me start by saying I super appreciate you coming in here. Chances are if you're seeing this video, you're exploring, learning, trying to pick up some ideas on how to start your own business, and you saw my video and you said, I'll see what that guy has to say. And you have no idea who I am because this would be the first video you're seeing of me. So I'll just tell you a little bit about me and why you should listen to me. But what I want to do before I even get to that is I want to give you the construct of a successful business model. Now, I've been in business development, sales, business ownership for, 25, 30 years. And hopefully you're saying right now, like, you don't look old enough for that. And that would be awesome. But I have a 27-year-old and I have a 25-year-old. One's a realtor in Orlando with a 3-year-old, and one is my daughter is just wrapping up grad school in Oregon. Very proud of both of them. I got started basically right after I was in the military. So I joined the Navy a couple months after I turned 17. I graduated high school early. My parents had to do the thing where they signed me away. I did 8 years in the Navy, nuclear chemistry, radiological controls, working on nuclear reactors down to the very bottom of aircraft carriers. And when I got out, I knew that I wanted to be in business. I knew that I wanted to do something important. I didn't want to just go work at a nuke plant doing rotating shift work for the rest of my life. And I just kind of like threw stuff against the wall and tried to figure out what would work and what wouldn't work. Well, what ends up happening is I went down a whole bunch of paths that maybe people are sharing with you, and you're like, is that a good idea? Not a good idea? And I'll tell you, I did a bunch of bad ideas. I worked with like a multi-level marketing company for a little bit of time. Where I did end up was I ended up in finance. I was an investment advisor, had my Series 7 exam, but I had never really conquered the marketing game, right? And which is a lot of what I want to talk about today with you. It doesn't matter what business you're going to be in. I'm going to give you like the basic equation for you to be successful. So if you spend the time, take a notepad and go, okay, these are the check boxes I need to figure out before I actually start the business. People have this common misconception that if I go get a real estate license or I become a financial advisor, I become a CPA, a home inspector, a plumber, like that is the thing. That's not the thing. Like all good business happens after the license, after the permission to do the job, after the know-how of how to do the job. So if you want to start your own business, I'm going to give you the equation for it. Now, that's not going to be so much the what, it's just going to be the how. I'm currently, why should you listen to me? I'm currently in the inspection industry. I have a successful inspection company in the Phoenix area. I've sold 2 successful inspection companies. The one in Denver is still one of our franchises, and then I started a franchise parent company. So full transparency, we've kind of built out this equation for like rock hard success, okay? And so at the end of this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, hey, if you're interested, we've kind of already built everything that I'm talking about today. And so if you're interested, we have some franchise opportunities and we make really great deals with veterans and first responders, and because they just do really, really great in our model. But that's not the goal today. I'm not selling you anything. Hopefully, if you get a whole bunch of value out of this, you can start your own thing. But if home services and inspections is right for you, then we can take the next step and I kind of show you what we've done over the years. Common misconceptions. I'm on a bunch of different Facebook groups that are veterans and they're getting out, or their wives are starting a business, or the guys getting out. And first of all, I see a lot of multi-level marketing. I'm just gonna tell you right now, not a business. Don't argue with me, it's not a business. You know why? You can't sell it. Businesses can be sold. Multi-level marketing, not gonna be sold. So as far as multi-level marketing goes, you might learn some sales skills and some interpersonal skills and some human psychology skills out of it, which is all well and good, but not a business. Can't be sold. There's that. I also see people talk about and ask about like, well, I want to start an LLC, or I want to start a 503c, or I want to start a this, and you're like, okay, all that, again, that's not the business. That's just how you're telling the government you want your revenue to be taxed or not taxed. If you're starting a church, you can make it a 501c3. If you're just going to start something on your own, you start a long county business, maybe you start as a sole proprietor. If you're going to start something a little bit more where you want to make sure that all of your personal assets in your house are not exposed to any liability, you want to start an LLC. Maybe you have even bigger aspirations. You start a very big company. You've got a couple $100,000 of your own money or investors, and you want to start an S Corp or a C Corp. And eventually you want to take it public. So those are all questions that you want to have chats with your attorneys and your CPAs about to figure out which entity is going to be best for you. But sole proprietor, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, all that is you telling the government, listen, when we bring $100 in, this is how it's going to be taxed. And then if you pull money out of it for yourself or for whatever, that's also how it's going to be taxed. That's all that is, okay? We have literally a training class in our franchise training that is called like being a small business owner is not what you think it is. So it's not logo design, it's not website SEO stuff. Pretty much successful business ownership is you taking your message about what you do that's special for other people, going and finding those people and telling them what you do, and then delivering that excellent thing that you told them that you do. That is really the entire thing. Now that's a way easier said than done, but that is like, so I'm gonna tell you a couple of things we tell our franchisees. Chamber of Commerce, that's not you working on your business. B&I Group, that's not you working on your business. I know some people are gonna argue, trust me, I could show you. Better Business Bureau meetings, not your business. Those are all things that feel like work. They feel like you're doing something because you're chatting with somebody and telling them where you work and you're showing your business card and all that. Ordering business cards, not work, not your business. Your business is interacting, sharing your message with other people, and then them going, oh, I relate to that, I'd like to work with you. Or I know someone who relates to that, I'd like to work with you. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's animal rescue. You know, you find animals, you give them health, and then you find homes for those people, right? If you're not finding homes for those animal rescues, you're not actually rescuing any animals. No matter what the business is, and I'm just gonna talk about a couple that I'm familiar with, and we're gonna talk about product, service, pricing. Either you have a product that you've developed or that you're buying from somewhere, buying overseas. I don't care if it's couches or a little gadget no one's ever heard of, or something for golf or clothing. You have a thing that does something for someone, or a service. You're a financial advisor, CPA, attorney, inspectors, realtor, where like you actually help facilitate a service that gets things done, like plumbing, roofing, whatever the case may be. I probably am a little ahead of schedule when I'm talking about pricing. People, when they're new to business, they price things based on them being new. That's not the right way to do it. When we set up a new franchisee in town, we look at what all the competitors are doing and we base the pricing based on that. We don't want to be the lowest and we don't want to be the highest. You can always raise your prices over time, but if you come in super low, depending on your business model, if you're an attorney, realtor, I mean, you don't want to be the lowest price in town, because then guess what? You're working with the people that only hire the lowest price in town. And if you think that's the only way to compete, I'm going to show you how not to compete, okay? Like how not to do that. So the first thing you need to do, whether you're going to be a realtor, you've probably heard the term niche before. You need to have a niche. What is a niche? A niche is a group of people that need what you do. So it's not enough for you to say, I do real estate, I do inspections, I do, business law. You need to talk about how what you do affects other people. What I would recommend is that you help people that you're familiar with. Okay, I'll give you an example. If someone came to me and said, I want to start a stroller company, these are special strollers, they do special things for single moms. I would literally go, I don't know, man. I don't know where to find single moms. Do you go to PTA meetings? Do you go to schools? Do you go to, I wouldn't know where to find like groups of single moms to take that message to. So that would be, if you ever watch Shark Tank, they go, well, I don't do clothing, I don't do food, I don't whatever, so I have to be out. Like that would be my first thing. Now, let me give you a different example. If you were gonna be a realtor and who said, I specialize on working with veterans and first responders, I could show you exactly what to do, right? I could show you where to get lists of first responders and literally, you can go to LinkedIn and write in veteran or Navy, military, Air Force, Army, and literally they'll give you lists of people, you link up with them, and now you can do what we're gonna talk about next, which is like, tell them what you do that's different and why it's important. And that way, when they need something that you just shared with them, they're gonna think of you. Are you gonna sell to individuals or are you gonna sell to business? If you had your marketing and your messaging really dialed in to what they want to hear and what they need to know, you could literally walk into a police station and go, hey, I specifically do this. Could I bring breakfast when you guys have your whatever meetings they have. You could do that at the fire station. You could go to the VFW. You could go to the recruiting station down by the mall where they're looking for high school kids to join the military. Like anywhere you can find military, you can help them. Now here's where people get a little confused. If this is just your outreach and marketing, it's not the only people you help. Just because you help Colonel Thomas buy a house once he left the military doesn't mean you can't help his civilian brother. This is just your way to be productive and proactive in your marketing. Instead of sitting around and waiting for people to find you, you would actually go out with your message and say, this is specifically what I do and how I do it. So I'll give you an example. I had a guy years ago in my Orlando business. He was a realtor. He was new to being a realtor. And he says, Kurt, your marketing's amazing, this, that, and the other. And I just don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. So I said, well, look, I really love the marketing aspect of it. Let's get together, have a beer, and chat through this. So this whole story I'm gonna tell you was like a 3-week journey, right? But he was a painter of houses, but he also did like artwork, faux painting and stuff like that. He was really good, but then he got older and he injured his shoulder, so he couldn't do it anymore. So he became a realtor. And so I said, wow, all right. I said, so you kind of really understand like the artist mentality, right? He's like, yeah. And I said, well, you know, the artist, the creative, is it left brain, I think? They're not always great. And they'll self-admittedly, I've been married to an artist before, they're not great with like rules and numbers and reading the entire legal agreement. They're creatives. They're like, I want to do this, I want a big splash, all that, right? And I said, what is it you like about my company? And we had some very specific things that we did. We had warranties, we had guarantees, we had some thoroughness, checklists, and basically it was like everything an artist knows they're not is everything we were. I was like, all right. So I said, what you could also do, we're an inspection company. You could get with your mortgage and your title, your brokerage. And I go, and you could put together this whole like package that says, when you work with me as a realtor, as an artist, we have like the artist protection plan, right? It basically, every artist, it protects them from themselves and all the things they know they do as a creative type. And he goes, oh, that's really good. But then here's the real kicker of it. He could have gone, we talked through it, and you could go to LinkedIn, and every single person that has a job so first of all, you would have had, again, this is as far as we took it, I don't know what he did with it, but then you create all of your marketing, I'm jumping ahead, but you create all of your marketing and your messaging and flyers that says, we do all of this. If you work with me, mortgage protects you here, title protects you here, my brokerage protects you here, inspection protects you here, you know, we'll help you with your homeowner's insurance, protects you here, and artists, will get out of your own way, design the house as beautifully as you want, we're gonna take care of all the details. Great. Now, you go to LinkedIn or wherever, but LinkedIn's the easiest, and any job that has a creative, artistic bend to it is a potential client for you now. So instead of you bugging your aunts and uncles and friends and neighbors and all that in your sphere, so to speak, you're on LinkedIn with graphic designers, web designers, art directors, and obviously anything art gallery related. But there's lots and lots of jobs that require creativity and artistic whatever, and every single one of those people is a potential client for you now. And hopefully, with the marketing and the message that you put there, it says, I help artists get out of their own way, or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying artists have a problem, they're just creative, and if you talk to most artists, they know that what I'm talking about is a real thing, so don't take that the wrong way. Don't take that out of context. But now, as a realtor, he could be proactively he could go to artistic events. He could be the artist realtor at a art show on the weekend. There's just now he has a million ways as a realtor to go out, find artists, have a message that resonates with them, and he is proactively finding clients all day long. And he has content to create for his blog. He has things to talk about on social media, and all of it relates and all of it makes sense. And it's because we took the time to say, who are you as a person? Who do you want to serve? How do you want to serve them? So extrapolate that out into your business. What is it that you do? Who do you do it for? Why is it different? If you're a plumber, I would highly recommend not just running around going, hey, I'm a plumber, please work with me. I'm really talented. I was in the military. I went to school and now I'm really smart. I mean, those are all, no offense, they're all cliches. For the people that say I work hard, you know, realtors, I'm a CMA, financial says I do a great asset allocation. I mean, come on, those are all cliches. That's what anybody in your business is required to do. Step outside yourself and say, what is it that I do that makes another person excited to work with me? So what that means is, on one piece of paper, whatever your business is that you're thinking about starting, you want to write down all the things that you do, okay? Because it's very easy for us to focus on us and what we do. And I'm going to get you out of that mindset, and whatever it might be. And then what you need to do is come on the other side of the paper and go, what does that mean to somebody else? Because the reality is, if you spend all day talking about this, you're never going to get anywhere. Your entire marketing message needs to be spent over here. So I'm going to give you a really lame one. As an inspector, let's say you wear booties inside the house. Booties inside the house on the left side. On the right side, we are extra cautious with your home, right? That's what the people need to hear. Feature, benefit, feature, benefit. Then what you do is you look at what everybody else says they're doing. And what you'll find is that if you actually did that homework that I just gave you, most people don't do it. Most people just do the average amount of work. Nobody goes above and beyond. It takes the time to say, who am I going to do? How am I going to serve them? And where am I going to find them to tell them about what I'm doing? And you will find that if you do that, you will succeed much, much quicker, and people will actually talk about you because you have something to say. I can't tell you how many times I sit down with a real estate agent and I go, well, where do you get most of your clients from? My sphere. So you're waiting for like your aunt and uncle to die and so you could sell their house? I mean, that's just crazy to me. But I want to give you another thought on competition. If you decide that you're going to be a realtor where I live, Phoenix, there's like 40,000 realtors in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix is. There are plenty of realtors, there are plenty of home inspectors, there are plenty of CPAs. I think I heard a stat like 7 years ago that there were more attorneys in law school than there were actual attorneys. So if you are going to go into a market that is already mature, also maybe saturated, you definitely want to bring something to the table that is above and beyond what everybody else is doing. If you just get into the business of doing me too and have an average message and say, well, this is the thing I do, the downside of that is that it's just a race to the bottom. To give you an example, our businesses, we use drones. So I was just on a podcast yesterday and they were interviewing me about how we use drones as part of the businesses that do pretty good. And I said, well, you have to, we were having the same kind of discussion about marketing and messaging and who you help and how you help them. Because if I say I'm a drone operator and I do videos, and you say I'm a drone operator and I do videos, then what's the only differentiator? Price. So now you and I are racing to the bottom on price on who's going to win the most business. And next thing you know, you're not making very much money. That's a lot of the home inspection industry right now. The inspectors don't do anything special. They don't have any specialized knowledge, tools, marketing, anything. And so they just compete over price. That's not a great way to make a living. That's why your average home inspector across the country makes like 50, 60 grand a year. We do that every single month. Okay, but not about me. So on to the differentiators. We talked about that, but I'm gonna give you an example of what we do. We use thermal cameras, every single house, not required. We inspect appliances, not required. We check for carbon monoxide with gas burning appliances, not required. We do recall reports on all the appliances, not required. We use everyone's drone license, so there's no such thing as an inaccessible roof, not required. We provide property history reports, not required. So again, we have decided to add all of these extras, and then what we do is we highlight those things and we educate the real estate world on them, and they go, wow, for the same price over there, I can get all that, and you guys are friendly and nice and you bring coffee. How am I gonna beat that? So what you need to do is go back to the competition, look at the differentiators and go, what are we gonna do to set ourselves apart? Because here's what you need to be thinking. You need to get out of your own headspace and you need to say, okay, if we've decided who our niche is gonna be, let's first assume that they're gonna interview 3 or 4 of me. So whether that's an inspector, a franchise company, a CPA, a realtor, a plumber, or whatever it is that you're doing, you wanna make sure that you have your message dialed in so that when they interview all 4 of them, they always come back to you. And if they don't, it's because of a decision that you made that you're like, yeah, we're okay not being the cheapest or the whatever. And again, those differentiators need to be highlighted in every single thing you do. So a lot of times I have people ask me questions like, what's the best way to market? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, those are all social. Cold calling, one-on-one, text messaging, sponsoring meetings, having happy hours, like all of them work if you have the marketing message developed in a way that is compelling to the people that you're trying to talk to. So here's where I screwed up. I was young. I wanted to be a big, fancy financial guy. I was wearing a suit every day. I was doing wine tastings. We were just inviting the general public. So first of all, I was not self-aware of the fact, because I thought I was pretty hot shit, right? The 50-year-olds were not about to just drop $500,000 into an account with me. I was like 26, 27, just out of the military. I was a kid, right? So here's what I should have done as an older person, almost 50, looking back going, how could I have really dominated the market? Well, here's what I would have done differently. So if you're going into finance, consider this. If I would have had a marketing message that targeted veterans and first responders about having a financial plan, insurance, and monthly savings. Now that's not sexy. No big 401k rollovers, no big IRA rollovers. Military members get out of the military after 20, 30 years. They don't have a big lump sum, right? They have a pension. So there's no 300 grand to roll over. But I could have taken that message and said, I help, veterans and first responders plan for the future and save on a monthly basis. I could have taken that message along with all my know-how to people that look like me, were around my age, were above maturity level for that age, to every police station, fire station, VFW, recruiting station, heck, even the military bases. And what would have happened is it wouldn't have been the big hits that you're looking for when you first get into finance, where you roll over 200 here and 500 there and 6 million there and 3 million there. But if I would have done that for a long enough period of time, I would have 2, 3, 4,000 clients that are, let's just say, saving all $500 a month. So what's the math on that? So if I had 4,000 clients saving $500 a month, I would have $2 million a month in new money every single month. Some of it being invested, some of it probably used for savings and cash accounts and stuff like that. So that was a huge mistake on my part because I didn't have the patience, I didn't have the marketing know-how. And that, of course, I think anybody that says I want to go be in finance right now, if you had $2 million a month, every single month going into new investment accounts, you're going to be making a pretty good living as a financial advisor. Now, you have to come up with a name. Don't screw this up. You don't want to have one name and then decide 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years later that you want a new name. Here's why. Now that we have this whole online presence, if you've got, you start to get found, and you don't even realize, but your company will be in all these databases that you didn't even, in directories that you didn't even put yourself into. So what you'll have to do is pay someone who specializes in those kinds of things, if you change your name, to go back and change all those. Because if you have the same phone number, the same address, or if there's some mishmash of all those things, the most important things are name, address, phone number. Now, and you want, right from you start your business, name, address, phone number needs to be the same every time, all the time, without, because that's how Google finds you, all right? So if you start with, Joe's tax services, and then later on you're like, well, actually I like a little bit, you made a huge mistake, because all the places you've already put that, it's just wasted. If you start by using your cell phone instead of a dedicated phone line that you can move around, and as you get bigger, have an office, you're gonna have multiple phone lines out there. And what happens is then it makes it all but impossible for Google to rank you very high. Once you get a chance to see my business, you'll see that I rank very high on Google because right from the beginning, we had the name, address, and phone number. It's always been the same, no changes there. The other thing to consider with a name, two things really. One is, can you get the website? I mean, let's be honest, you have to have a website nowadays. So you wanna go to GoDaddy, that's the easiest one, and you just keep searching domains until you find one that works. A couple of things people have tried is they will purposely misspell a word because that makes it a lot easier to get the that domain. So like, let's just, I'll use one that I happen to know about. So instead of the word taco, T-A-C-O, let's say you find out that you're like, oh, I could do TAKOFOD.com, tacofood.com, just for a bad example. You could probably get it. You might even get tacos.com. You might even get tacosalpaso.com or something, tacostoledo.com. The problem is, okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I especially like that kind of stuff from marketing. It's memorable. Here's the downside of it. You will not get found as easily in search. So weigh those options as you go with a word that's a totally new word that's never been used before. Now that being said, Google was not really a word that was ever used. It wasn't in the dictionary, and now it is. It's actually a verb. So, take my advice with a grain of salt. Okay, so you have a great name, and then it's time for a logo. Here's the thing. You can go to Fiverr.com for $5 and get a logo made. Initially, the logo is only so important. I would focus a little bit on your colors. Pick a color palette, so colors all go together. You could change your logo 100 times the next 10 years, and it kind of doesn't matter. I would rather you change your logo 100 times and still have the name, address, and phone number for searchability online. So the logo should tell a message. It should be somewhat recognizable. Hopefully it's maybe a little gimmicky. If you can have what's called a marketing trigger, like my company's name is Inspections Over Coffee. So if you're in the real estate world and we're in your town, then when you hear coffee, you might think, oh, Inspections Over Coffee. It's just an extra word that everyone's really familiar with, and we're kind of reusing it a different way. But again, with the logo, I would not overly stress yourself about the logo. You could live without a logo even for 6 months or a year. I mean, you can get one, you can get them super cheap, you can spend $2,000 getting one. The logo is not the end all be all. No one's gonna work with you or not work with you because of your logo, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now you have to develop your message. And the message, here's what I mean by that. If you're gonna have, first of all, you wanna picture yourself sitting in a couple of different scenarios. You're gonna have your perfect client is reading your flyer or your brochure or your business card, and what do you want them to think and feel when they do that? You're gonna have a one-on-one meeting, maybe over coffee or over beer, whatever, with your perfect client, and what is it you're gonna say? And then you're gonna stand up in front of a group of 20 of your perfect clients, and you're also gonna have that same message. And then you just cater that message to the size of the crowd, how interested they are. Like when I stand up in front of realtors, I know exactly what I'm gonna say, and I can talk for 20 minutes and I can talk for 4 minutes. And I also, and all of that messaging is congruent all the way from when they hear me speak, to when they have the flyer, to when they have the business card, to when they go to the website, to when they call our office, to everything we go over, to our final report that we give them, and to our follow-up. And so the extra value add that differentiates us from everybody else is all felt all the way through the entire thing. Here's what you gotta remember. I've had meetings that are an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and I'm like, this is like my new best friend. And then I see them in a real estate office 2 weeks later, and they're like, oh yeah, you guys are like the inspection company, all the extra stuff, right? The reality is people are just really involved with their own lives, and they're only gonna remember so much about what you tell them. If they remember 10% of your conversation, you're doing really well. So don't feel bad about repeating your message over and over and over. You really want to drive that home. And again, the message, again, I can't say this enough, it's not about what you do. It's about what it means to the other person you do it for. And then what you do is you go back to that thing that we were talking about, which is outreach. So what's the best way to do outreach? There's no best way. Knock on doors, cold calling, cold text, Facebook. Like you have the thing that you deliver to people, now deliver it. Go wide. I send messages on LinkedIn. I send messages on Facebook. My office reaches out to the real estate world. We have preferred partnerships with real estate agencies. When I could talk to a title person because they're trying to reach the real estate agents, and we can co-brand, co-market stuff. We teach classes. We try to be education-based. It's all about creating credibility. And again, all of the outreach is on steroids because we have the message and the differentiators built in. We're not just out there going, hey, we're inspection companies, please work with us. That is not compelling. And you would still get some business from it. It's not even the end of the world. But if you add that extra juice that differentiates you and puts you on a pedestal, my favorite part of it is that you could proactively go out and do the thing, right? I know people that are realtors and they kind of have to sit around until they trip over a new buyer or a new seller. But I was like, well, imagine if you had a message to take to a specific group of people and tell them exactly what you did. This is where most of the people spend their time. And it is important. You have to deliver a professional product, professional service for a fair price. I would tell you to take that very seriously. In my industry, that doesn't happen very often. Some, usually guys, maybe a girl, goes through like 2 weeks of school. They get a super vanilla template from a software company, and they're like, hi, I'm an inspector. And like, they're gonna get crushed. Like the vanilla thing you get from the company does not cut it. You're not gonna catch half the stuff. I hire licensed inspectors and I put them through our training, and every once in a while I get like kind of a weird look from them. I'm like, what's up? And they go, man, I never heard of half the stuff you're talking about. and these are people who are licensed in my state. And I'm like, yeah, I know, sorry, it's 15 years of experience and we've built all this out. So take that very seriously. I won't go too deep on that because you probably are already gonna be really good at that. You need to develop all the systems. What systems am I talking about? Accounting, you have to account for stuff. You should have your banking and your whatever, however you track your business connected to QuickBooks, and they all sync stuff every month. You got a bookkeeper, they're double checking all the numbers. You got marketing, so like, are your emails automated? Do you have, when you're working with a client, do you send texts, do you send emails, you say, hey, we're gonna be there at such and such time. Hey, don't forget about your appointment at 4 o'clock, whatever the case might be. There's a ton of those out there. Can you take credit cards? Are you paying credit card fees? Or have you figured out how to put the credit card fees onto the client unless they want to pay with ACH? If you're in a business similar to mine where there's a report delivered, do you have the report delivered automatically? Or are you literally sitting there writing up the report, new for every single client, and then also like hand delivering it by email? So I laugh because I know there's people still out there doing that. So when I first was like, oh my gosh, I got 18 systems I need to deal with, there was a lot, and I found ways to make that happen. Is the business sellable? You do not have a business if you can't sell it. You might own your own job, you might be your own boss, but if you just have a list of people that call you from time to time, that's not really sellable. So the systems, the marketing, the differentiators, the outreach, the thing you do for people, all of that combined along with revenue is what makes the business sellable. I'll tell you another story. I had a friend that was looking at a small little restaurant in Orlando. He wanted my opinion on what I thought of the business. And I said, well, get a P&L. He's like, oh yeah, I should do that. So he gets it, and it's literally like a handcrafted like Word document that's like where the numbers don't even make any sense. And I go, this is not P&L. Like, this was not developed from like real numbers from accounting. Where's all the numbers that back all this up? He ended up not going forward with it. He's really lucky because his friend did go forward with it and took a huge bath on it. You know, use the equation that we've given you here. You have a thing that you do, a group of people that you do it for. You do it in a way, and you have specialized knowledge and things that you do that are specifically designed for a group of people. That group of people, you have to be able to find them somewhere. If you said, I have a special business just for astronauts, okay, but I don't know where you find astronauts. If you have a way to get in front of all the astronauts, great, but otherwise, you really want to have that group of people that you can get in front of to share your message with. You show them the differentiators, you deliver the final product, and then you do it all over again. And that is a much better way than going, hi, I'm an inspector, hi, I'm a realtor, hi, I'm a financial advisor, and having what most sales gurus would tell you is a prepared elevator speech. Well, what I do is help people, blah, blah, blah. No, throw all that out, okay? The elevator speech is one of the outreach tools that comes up once you've developed all the other stuff that I've talked about, okay? And finally, if you're able to sell your business, if you have someone who wants to buy it, pay real money for it, congratulations, you're a business owner. So that being said, we have developed all this. There's another video along with the informational flyer. We're in home services, we're in property inspections, and we have developed multiple 6-figure and 7-figure inspection companies, and we are looking for a few specialized partners. Veterans do really well with us. Second careers, people coming from corporate do really well with us. Husband and wife teams do really well with us. But we have everything I told you about is 110% built out with all of the back-end training and the templates and the deliveries. And so if you're the kind of person that goes, man, I don't know about developing all that stuff, and you want kind of that done for you product, and you're more of an executor, like, hey, if you show me what to do, I'll go do it, then you should request that information from us. I'm sure there'll be a button probably right below this video that says request information, and we'll shoot you that info over, and you can kind of see what all that looks like. So I hope that you found this sort of like starting a business training to be valuable. It's definitely not everything. I mean, everything I'm talking about would probably take 90 to 180 days with any new business, but hopefully it gives you some starting points and some things that maybe you hadn't thought about on how to be successful with your new business. Okay, so again, I'm Kurt. I own Inspections Over Coffee. If you want to Google us or find us, and it was great having some time with you today. Take care.